Bosh, here we go. Right, Monday night, a little bit of late night therapy as usual. We are going to talk what I said for the title, talking a little bit there about who needs to get dropped. We'll get into that in a little minute, and we'll get into some questions and that. So get your questions in. We'll have a chat, and we'll see where it leads us, and see what utter madness, mayhem, and avenues that we end up going down. Because that's what we do on these late night ones, isn't it? There's not really a topic. I have to give you some sort of a topic, but not really a topic. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where it leads to, and we'll see where it goes down. Hensel says, "How are you doing, mate?" "I'm all right, thank you, brother. Just chilling. Got our application in through today for the next step. I've got a hell of a lot of work to do over the next week to fill it all out and get it all ready, but that's what we will do. We'll get it all done and boxed off, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Bills fan says Lindelof is the best defender on the team. No. It says, if you're honest, the question is, who should you pair with Lindelof? He's definitely not the best defender on the team. He's a better fit for what we're trying to achieve, though, I think. Connor says, evening, Steve. Do you think Maguire will hit better form since his okay display and goal earlier? The goal might be a good thing for him. It's fair to say that the goal might be a good thing for him, but we shouldn't be judging defenders on the goals that they score at all. Thomas, has Lindelof shown you enough to give him a shot at CDM? I'm sick of hearing that. Him and Wan-Bissaka as number sixes. Number six should probably be your best players, really. Like, that's such an important role. They should be the biggest ones that you get as well. Anthony says, Steve, did Wan-Bissaka do enough for me to be ahead of Delo? For me, it's so frustrating. He makes these great tackles, but his decision-making is baffling. For me, no. But I recorded the preview today for the Atletico game, and I went with Delo and Tellez because I expect them to sit back and break against us. But I also wouldn't be mentally mad if he did pick Wan-Bissaka over Delo in this one particular instance, because of the defensive instincts that he's got and because of how much of a threat they are on the counter-attack. I wouldn't be mad at it. Notch, has Rio got a point about Tielemans, Neves and Bruno? I don't think so. I think they'd be good enough. I think the three of them together smash it. Connor says, Lindelof has still developed each siege and he's been here, in my opinion. He's still poor in the air, I believe. And I think there's still loads of areas he can fix up on, but I think he's ahead of Maguire. Mank says, Maguire should not really play against Atletico and get a red card off the break. I don't know if he would, because he wouldn't put a challenge in, would he? That's the problem. That is the problem with him. He doesn't put a thingy in with him. Yeah, Justin says, do you really want João Felix running at Maguire? Ben's given Sancho and Ronaldo are 2-3 of the front three. Who gets the third? For me, I'm picking Alanga. Alex says, evening, Steve. Hope you're good. First day back at work after 3 weeks off due to mental health. Your lives helped talk about. Keep your mind off it. Oh, thanks. That's good to hear. I've had a few messages like that over the last whatever's months or weeks. Me actually speaking up about some of the stuff I've struggled with has seemed to help some people, so I'm really pleased with that. You don't know how it's going to go, do you? I mean, don't really want to talk about that sort of stuff ever, but it does seem that when we have done, it's had a really positive response, so good to hear. Matt says, Ralph is definitely the right man now. He's got Wan-Bissaka and Shaw spot on against Leeds. Really? I don't know if I thought those two plus Ronaldo and Lingard were pretty anonymous, to be honest. He says Ralph will use all the fullbacks at the right times, maybe. Derek Best says, does Cavani actually want to play? It's kind of sad seeing how he picks when he wants to play. It is, isn't it? You got to give him the same treatment that we give the rest of them and just say it's not good enough, because it's not good enough. If we go back in time to Nebworth or Spike Island, which am I going to? Ooh. For me, I don't know why. Is it because they never hit the same sort of mainstream that Oasis did? Oasis became like pure pop almost, didn't they, in the end? I think I'd like to go. I think I'd like to go. I think it'd be Nebworth. I think Stone Roses come across as cooler because they're a little bit underground. Did I do the interview with He Who Shall Not Be Named? No, He Shall Not Be Named bottled it. And we're trying to rearrange for when it doesn't bottle it. All right. Never mind, I can't say that. It's not to do with that person. I've just found something out about our referee this weekend. Simon Andrews has got the Paddock shirts in the mail today. Brilliant. Thanks to Janine. Wearing them at the gym tomorrow. Awesome. Send us your pictures of you wearing the green and gold. I'd love to see it. Would I take Rangnick full time if we win the Champions League? Yes. Of course you would. Alex says, for me, the centre-back pairing has to be Lindelof and Varane, because on and off the ball, defence are sound, and Lindelof has been very good this season, and it's Champions League Varane. Bingo. I completely agree with all that lot. What do I think about holding midfielder Lindelof? I'm going to scream if I have to answer that again. 20 Legends says, I like Rangnick. He's done excellent since his arrival. All the draws aren't his fault. Santa Notch says, had you been old enough to go to Reading Festival in the early 90s, I reckon you'd have dug. Is that the one where... Yeah, I think Reading and Leeds festivals are the... Yeah, I think I know which one you're looking at. It's a yellow and black or yellow and red sort of poster, isn't it? And I think I've seen it, and it looked bonkers who was on that one. Anthony Williams, is it weird that I feel more confident about playing Atletico in Spain than playing at Old Trafford? Not sure about that. And actually not sure about this as well. Ian Madalena says, and someone else mentioned it up earlier above as well, 3-5-2 for the Champions League. No, you don't need to. You don't need to play a 3-5-2. Why we've been working on flipping between a 4-3-3 effectively and a 4-2-3-1 really effectively, and I think that is exactly what we need in this game. That's more than enough. You don't need to start messing around with a back three. And I can see the appeal really, because you've only really got two obvious forwards that you want to start. But no, I think you can do it. Tyler says, I've got a funny feeling number 4 is coming. I mean, I'm as giddy as everyone else, but, you know, come on. Callie says we haven't tried an Eric Bailly pairing with Varane. The problem with Eric Bailly, right, invariably when he plays, he does the job. But being able to play is a massive part of the job. And one thing you have to give Harry Maguire credit for is he's bulletproof. Play week in, week out, consecutive weeks, never misses a game. And you can be upset with some of the stuff that he does on the pitch, but you can't be upset with how often he turns up. And that's a skill in itself. Being able to lace up a pair of boots 3 times a week is good. Anthony says, who do I think the new away goals rule benefits the most? Feel like Atletico are good at getting that goal and holding on a lead. I don't know, you know. We've not really seen enough of it, have we, yet? Obviously, this is the first time we're really going to start to see it now, but I don't know. Notch comment there. De Gea's comment about loving being at United. Yeah, and loving Manchester, I noticed as well. I'm from Madrid, but I feel like I'm from Manchester now. Yeah, is it more because of wages? He did want to leave twice. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, to be honest. Maybe he's got a little in here now. Maybe he feels like it's his home. Tyler says Lindelof being able to take the ball and make plays up the pitch and passing and dribbling is extremely valuable. Varane can be the last defence when he goes forward. I'd like to see both of those two together, but it's a big call to drop your captain. It's a hell of a call. What about a 4-man midfield? Again, a 4-man midfield I can kind of see the appeal of, especially if you put Bruno in the false 9 kind of role. That's not a bad one. I'd rather a midfield 4 than a back 3. Can I explain a little bit about the new away goal rule? Yes, there is no away goals rule. So if it's 2-2 over there and 1-1 over here, it's extra time and penalties. Connor says, any idea when the paddock memberships are open? Would love to get in there early. You won't be able to miss it. We'll absolutely hammer it everywhere. There's a few things that we've got to do. We've got our applications to the next stage. It's got to get out of the way. We have to still have to sort the legal situation out with that. We have to finish our app, which has taken ages. So there's a lot of things in the pipeline. I've seen our new kits. Our new kits are absolutely sick. Today we was finding out about there's a possibility of us playing in a tournament in Dubai, which is, again, there's a lot of fucking paperwork and things that I've got to box off for that, and figure out who we can actually take and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So there's so much work that I just did not anticipate, which obviously I do entirely voluntary, but I fucking love it. Like, literally obsessed with it. Do you like, you can get deep into playing Footy Manager? Well, I'm doing it for real. Like, literally doing it for real, but also running the fucking club and everything on the top of it. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the shit out of it. We won 9-1 at weekend. Fucking pissed off of it. But it is what it is. Sensational. Any update on the Dubai trip? Is it concrete? I'll know more from definite Monday. From the conversations I've had, I think it's just a case of us just crossing the T's and dotting the I's now. It sounds like it's. I think it's going to happen. Yeah. There's the potential that the sponsors that are taking us over there potentially be sponsors for next season. Can iron that out on Monday and we'll know. But yeah, I think that'd be mega. 2 weeks in Dubai at the Yaz Al Sheba, is it? Or Naz Al Sheba complex where United went for warm weather training. Name says, after both Tellers and Shaw get an extended run of the team, personally I'll take Tellers every day of the week. Same. Have we found a home for Paddock FC next season? Will home games be early to avoid clashing with certain other teams playing on the same day? I think we have less of an option in our new league next year on the kickoff times. I will do my best. I will do my best. We are playing out of Drolsden next season. Confirmed. I can confirm that to you. It's confirmed. We were potentially playing out of Drolsden this weekend, and it's not been ready for this weekend. It got a bit of damage in the storm this weekend, and there's some of the stuff that needs sorting as well. So we can get in there hopefully before the end of the season. Look, there's 5 games left before after this weekend. 3 if we don't progress past the semi-finals of the cup. So it's one of those, isn't it? Like, we can only just turn up, win every game that's in front of us, and then we're happy days. Vinay says Athletic forwards can really break down defences with their movement. A little bit worried. Now, yeah, Atletico do still score goals, so there's definitely a problem with them scoring goals, but the other issue that you've got to worry about with them, or they've got to worry about, is they're not keeping clean sheets. They've conceded like 10 more goals now than they had in the entirety of last season, just in the league. They're crumbling, man. They're absolutely crumbling. Yeah, Abacus immediate at home on the 26th of the 3rd. That, I think, is our last game of the season, isn't it? Potentially. If everything's gone to plan and we win all our games and the team with a game in hand at the moment drop their points, we will hopefully be picking up the first trophy as a club in our first full season there. But there's a possibility of a double this season, so I'm going for it. Would I give Rashford a go or stick to Alanga? I would go with Alanga. And keep giving Marcus his little minutes here and there. Benjamin with a super chat says, your negatives and positives with Poch and Ten Hag. I don't see a positive with Poch, genuinely. I do not see a positive. And There are some negatives with Ten Hag. I mean, we've done a whole video on this. I'm not just going to answer that in a straight little questionnaire. Graham here says, Steve, I saw you saying about Janine posting shirts before. I work for Royal Mail. We thought about doing a bulk collection straight from the office, just a suggestion. I think we've inquired about that, but because our post is more seasonal, then I don't think we can guarantee everything every month. Get in touch with us, either on Instagram or wherever, and just say that, and I'll pick it up with you there. Wolfgang says, would you like to see a tight, good defensive performance in Atletico or absolute goal madness? I think he's got to be in the fight. James says, why couldn't the Signal Athletic highlights? It was Signal Old Boys highlights go out last season. Long story. Shout out to O'Shea's on Princess Street, says Ryan. Any standout bars for you in town? Nah, this is how I know I'm getting old and settled down. Like, there's nowhere that I really go straight to at a minute. You need to ask the 21-year-olds and 22-year-olds. They'll tell you. Jacob says, our XG numbers since Ralph took over are better than Ollie, or by a stretch. They're more goals and they're less against. So that's tangible improvements. Matthias says, did I notice every time United played out from the back against Leeds, it was always via Lindelof and never Maguire? It was also the same the week before. Yep. Notch says, a.k.a. Patterson. No, not even Patterson. Like, all of them. Ronaldo, Cam, all of them. Yeah, I think all of them would have a better idea. I mean, Patterson's not going to tell you any bars outside of 42s, is he? Let's be real. Have I heard Jose wants to sign Bay for Roma? I don't rate the guy personally. He's always unfit and a liability. Fitness is a massive concern. Massive concern. That was one of the things Fergie mentions in his book about when signing a new player. What's his injury record like? Ronan says, the one thing I'll criticise Rangnick for is I think Hannibal needs a bit of blood in, and I've been disappointed he hasn't gotten just 10-15 minutes end of league games liven things up. When have we been comfortable in a league game where you could have brought him in, though? We haven't been comfortable, have we? Have I seen Danny Murphy's comments today about our celebrations versus Leeds? Yes, I have. What an absolute fucking whopper. Also, what does he know about winning a title? Who do I honestly think our manager will be next season? I think it'll be Poch. I'm well aware I'm going to get clipped up to fuck with everything I've said about him, and I'll support him when he's here, but I don't want him. Yanni says, realistic, we're not signing 2 centre mids. Who would I buy just to sit next to Fred or McTominay? It's only going to be one. I mean, we're doing another one on midfielders probably next week, so keep a lookout for that, and we'll talk about it in that. Aman Saxena says, Steve, you said Mourinho got some things right and some things wrong. Care to make a list? Well, he wasn't having Martial, and he wasn't having Shaw, and he probably would have gotten rid of Pogba. And all right, yeah, Pogba's a talent, but since then, he's had... What's he had since then? He's had a full season in 2, maybe a bit less. He's not played a hell of a lot, has he? Let's be real with ourselves. He hasn't played. He's played less than he's played. He started to miss a hell of a lot of games with his injuries at the moment, so... I think Jose probably had that right. Now, who he wanted to bring in, I don't necessarily agree with either. I don't necessarily agree with the way he spoke about some of the players. But he did get some things. Like, you're not going to get everything wrong, and you're not going to get everything right, and I think he did get some stuff. Tony Lancashire says, if we get Poch, could we get Kane? Why do you want Kane? Joe says, what's my favourite part about running a football club? I like seeing things that we've just decided to do. Like, we just decide, let's try this, let's do this, let's have this as a tactic, let's do this. And then when that comes about and you see it on the pitch, I fucking love that. Like, when you score a goal that you worked on the night before in training, and it's like a set play almost from open play. I fucking love that shit. The worst thing for me has been the facilities. The facilities has been a nightmare. trying to organise all of those. Nah. That's the pain in the ass. Tyler says Kane would be a Van Persie, excellent but short-lived, but carrying a massive price tag. I'm not having him. I'm sorry, I'm not having him. He's nowhere near as good as Van Persie was. Nowhere near. People like to call him clinical. He's anything but clinical. He's provably not clinical. He takes so many shots. He's not clinical. Are there any plans for more live games on TikTok? Are they hard to sort? I don't like doing it, to be honest, so I would say no. David Wilton says, what are the chances Poch does well? He had limited money at Spurs. No, he didn't. He had limited money one season at Spurs. He signed 27 players. 27 players. You name me a manager at United in the post-Ferg era that's managed to sign 27 players. It's bollocks. He signed an entire squad's worth of players. Now, he might have got some good money, some bargains, this, that, and the other. How much of that was Paul Mitchell? How much of that was Poch's doing? Either way, he had a team given to him. I don't want to talk about Poch because I know it's going to come. We're going to have to talk about him when he comes. I'd rather not talk about him now because I don't fucking want him. Connor says the FA needs 100% to change the amateur system in terms of facilities. Club I play for has so many nightmares trying to sort things out. There really needs to be a standardised system. Do you know what I think it is? There's a couple of massive sites in Manchester especially. There's Withenshaw Sports Field, I think it might be called, or something similar. And there's Turn Moss, amongst others, Hough End. And all of them have got massive, multiple pitches on there, but they're all grass and they're not floodletting. So when you're trying to find somewhere to train and somewhere to play, most of those places are a no-go. How do I cope with all the work you're doing as well as mental health in check? Love what you do. I kind of keep a little bit busy to stop me thinking about stuff. I largely like what I do, to be honest. That helps. In a big way. Is that it for Axel now? United career over, says Kim. I'd be very surprised if he comes back and manages to stake a claim as a first-team player from now. He's just missed too many years of not getting of not getting those games in that he needs, and those development games are absolutely vital. And again, injuries finish more careers than anything else. Venomix says, I don't think this United team can handle the intensity or wide midfield of Simeone's 4-4-2. Maybe their experience in the Champions League will prove more influential. It should do. I mean, the experience that they've got is interesting, isn't it? Benjamin Isaacson there with a super chat, and he says, Nagelsmann working under Ralph would be the dream. I keep hearing that there's dramas with him at Bayern Munich. Now, that always makes you think, okay, well, why is there dramas? And then if there is dramas and it's nothing major, perhaps he's someone we should look at. Matthias says, got you. I work with football in Sweden and do exactly the same. Keep myself busy. Yeah. I mean, you gotta be into what you do. If I wasn't into any of this, like I couldn't handle all of this. But, I'm waking up thinking about football. I'm going to bed thinking about football, and whether it's United, whether it's the content that I make that's talking about football, or whether it's what we're own doing, and the developments that we're putting in place, and the things that we want to do for grassroots football in Manchester with the academy that we're going to produce, I care about it, and I want to have an impact with all of that, especially with the grassroots football for kids. The driver in this is, and it didn't start like this. Like I probably couldn't even articulate the full reasoning behind let's build a club, except for it sounds like a good idea and a bit of a laugh. And we'd organised a couple of little games, and we'd been involved in some six-a-side tournaments, and it was a laugh and it was fun and it wasn't a lot of work. I well underestimated how much work there was involved in this. And that's what's been a bit of a shock, is how much work's involved. But I can honestly say, hand on heart, I'm fucking obsessed with what I'm doing. And I've been a parent of a kid in a grassroots club, a few grassroots clubs, and I see from the outside how it's done, and I have a little insight into what goes on in some academies, chatting to agents, to players, to parents, to all sorts of people, and I think there's better ways for this to be done here. And I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but I've got some ideas. And from my very limited experience, not just obviously at the level we're in, but with people who are working right the way throughout the non-league pyramid, and even actually at United's level, there's an impression of competency which isn't true. And there's a lack of ambition in non-league from a lot of places. A lot of non-league clubs have just got one team. A lot of them don't even have reserve teams. And they wonder why, they've done the same thing for years, and they're wondering why it doesn't work. And you think, I think there's a different way to do it. And I don't know if what we're going to do is going to work, but I'm going to try. But what I want us to be is the first place that you go check out as a 5, 6, 7-year-old to start your journey in football. Once you've got your grounding and we give you a little bit of a taste of the sorts of things you're going to be experiencing in academy football, introduce you to video analysis, because it's a massive part of the game and it's a massive learning tool. Show you a bit of video analysis, explain some of the things that players are judged on, introduce them to scouts, explain why people get chosen, why they end up with a career. The most important things: put in good attitudes, good training fundamentals, give young coaches an opportunity to coach young players rather than just having someone's fucking fat dad telling them to get rid of it. That's the thing that pissed me off at young football. The training sessions are all very much geared around the English style of play, which is the England way, which is something that England team doesn't necessarily play like, but it's what they coach on all the FA courses. And when you look at every team at the moment is trying to teach playing out the back, every team's trying to do this, that, and the other, and then when it gets to the game day, everyone forgets that this is about development, and the game day is an extension of your practice. And it shouldn't be about results, under 16s to under 6s. It's about, can you develop and can you put into practice the things that you do in training. And once you can do those sorts of things, that's when you're developing as a footballer. But what I see is a lot of people teaching the youngsters these playing out from the back principles, and then it comes to the match day, and you've got someone's fat dad on the sidelines screaming, "Get rid." Panicking the kids. You haven't practiced get rid. You're just screaming get rid of them because you don't have the confidence in the children to be able to work it out how to not lose possession in these areas. You haven't coached them correctly to move into good positions to receive the ball, to move it up the pitch. So now you're fucking panicking and you're just shouting get rid of them because your ego is somehow attached to how these under fucking 8s do. Do me a fucking favour. And I think that's the next fucking superstar wonder kid coming through at Manchester United. Probably going to get taught by that coach first. It's a fucking miracle anyone makes it to the Premier League when they have to experience that as their first landing of an idea. Now, for me, Manchester's an absolute hotbed of football. Absolute hotbed of football. Two massive clubs in Manchester City. When you look at the pathway for young Mancunian players, it follows a similar trajectory. But you want to see more players more players taught proper hardcore fundamentals and be prepared before they move into an academy from the local area. And when those players are released from Manchester United, we want to bring them back to Stretford Paddock, get the confidence back in them, get them playing again, whether they're under 16, whether they're under 18, whether they're 22, 24, whatever they are. We've got a really good reputation so far of moving players back into the pyramid and sending them back up. And I would like to really expand that and become known for that. I don't actually give a toss where Stretford Paddock end up. Now, I know people say, oh, I'd love to see you in the league and this, that, and the other. You won't. You won't see us in the league. To get into the professional pyramid is going to cost hundreds of millions. We're not going to have that sort of funding. And I don't want to be there. What I want the first team to do is exist as a purely organic, homegrown team that starts to get fed from kids that turned up at Stretford Paddock training on a Wednesday night in the rain and 15 years later make the first team. That's what I want it to represent. Purely organic, because I think there's got to be another way. Cap says, parents are the biggest barrier to kids developing. I coached kids for years, had to use a red and yellow card system for parents that said things like get rid or unlucky. I know while Brian McClare was head of youth development at United, he introduced a silent sideline. And my sister was at United and you weren't allowed to speak on the sideline because the kids had to figure it out. And the coaches didn't really coach during games because the kids are trying to figure it out. This is when I say to you a lot of, and people dismiss it, the players are the most important thing in this. You can give them the framework, but they've got to put it into practice on the pitch. When the players don't know what they're doing themselves, they're not going to execute. You need to give kids the tools to understand what they're trying to achieve from a young age and then develop that as they get older along with their physical and technical traits. You don't need to coach them all the way through games. Now, at our level, yes, it's obviously about winning. We're an adult team. I make tweaks in the games. But the lads will tell you, I don't speak a lot. It's a bit more encouragement, well done, that sort of stuff. Remind them of fundamental things that I like to hear. I like to hear at set pieces what we're doing. Well, scream at them. I need to hear it. You'll hear me on the sideline say stuff like that. I need to hear it. I want to know that the rest of the team knows. Because if I can hear it on the sideline, I know everyone in the box knows what we're doing. James says, I've tried the silent sideline with my team. It'll be parents that fuck it up for you. Sarah says, why does nobody even acknowledge steroid use in football, in a sport like cycling, fighting, tennis, etc.? Yeah. Yep. I don't know why. David says, how's things, Steve? Watch your 9-1 game. That Hamza looks like a baller, by the way. He is. He's starting to press now as well. And it'll be a nightmare if he gets the bug for pressing people and realises how effective he could be, because he's a fucking unit as well. Hendrik says, Steve, got a question regarding the green and gold. Ordered one at the beginning, gave the address and all, but haven't updated anything since then. Is it still coming or do I have to do something else? If it's the same address, no, you don't need to do anything. It's on its way. It's just taking a minute to get through them. We've had some dramas with babysitters as well for the baby, so Janine's not been getting in as much as we would hope. But there you go. Warwick Road says, Steve, after James Garner vlog, gonna have a watch of him tomorrow at Deepdale. Nice. Rajveer says, I think Varane and Lindelof should start because Felix and Griezmann hit us on the pace. Yes, the pace of Atletico is their biggest threat on the counter with me. So that's why I would like to mitigate that by not having a slow defender in the mix. Jeremy Aldred says, Steve, I find what you do extremely fascinating with Paddock. Really enjoy listening to the opinions. Currently finishing A-levels, then going to uni to study football coaching. Nice, well played, mate. Get some practical coaching there as well. You don't just need to just get the theory for it. You'll learn more, putting cones out and trying to move people around. And the biggest thing you're going to learn is that you're gonna come up with an absolute shit hot training session. You're gonna spend hours writing it up, doing shit like this for 18 players, and then 11 turn up, and you're like, you fucking bastards. This session, this one's third man runs and wide triangles, and this is how I do all my sessions. And this is about starts off with very static stuff on cones. Play the ball into one receiver, he plays it back, and then he makes a run in behind a mannequin to receive, and then you have someone following it up, and then wide triangles, a couple of boxes on the pitch. I love mini goals in different areas of the pitch. That's a big one for me. And also, there's a book, I mentioned this the other day, but there's a book we're reading at the moment. Might be quite useful to know this week. Do I think United should get Lamptey and play Laird left back next season? I don't think he'd be worth it. I think he's going to cost us fucking 70 million. Sarah says, love listening to you talk football, not too opinionated or biased, just speak facts. Oh, I am biased, but, you know, I'm unapologetically so. Notch's movement, sometimes United players could do a lot more of at times. Don't show any of the books. I've got some here. I don't need to go over there. Here's a good book on the Academy, actually, which I've only just started, which is by Ryan Baldy, called The Dream Factory. It's about youth football. Any Atletico players stand out for the match? Yes. There will be a surprise Atletico player, I think, for most people. So go and have a look at that one. Other than the obvious manager choices, do you have any others you're liking? Not really, no. Really short on options, I think we are at the moment. Do I think Jude Bellingham can be a good replacement for Pogba? I think it'll cost you 100 million. And I don't know if that means good. Angel Correa is dangerous, as Edith. Yeah, that's give the game up. That's who the surprise was for tomorrow. When do I get any time to read? I find time to read because I don't see it as a leisure activity. I find it part of my job. Also, there's a couple of things that I do. Well, Audible's one, and I meant to say this to you the other night, and I am going to cover some stuff on Audible, but there's also something I'm using called Speechify as well, which is an app on my phone. And basically with Speechify, all you do, you sort of screenshot, you can screenshot a page in a book, and it will read it out for you. So you don't, even if a book isn't on Audible, you can select like, you know, any accent or voice or anything like that you want, and you can smash it out. And that's a really good one. I took the last one I did on Speechify was, let's see if this one works. Got no signal up here. I took I think it was an economics article or a Harvard Business School article. That's Sir Alex Ferguson did it. It was like fucking 10,000 words long. Fucking blasted it in that and listened to it like a podcast. Oh yeah. Jeremy says, thanks for the advice. Haven't done my level 1. Haven't coached the team, unfortunately, due to boarding school, COVID rules, but I'm getting a UA for C and B, as well as my degree at uni. Go get coaching, though. There's no point having a UA for B and never having coach people. What are you going to do when they walk in your session? What are you going to do when they start fucking about doing kick-ups instead of listening to you? What are you going to do when they're late? These are more important than the qualification that says what you can and cannot coach to a level of. Your actual practical coaching is more important than the bit of paper that says what level you are. By a fucking long stretch, absolute long stretch. That's what you need to know, and you're only going to know that by figuring it out. We have a couple of junior coaches at the club. You know, there'll be assistants to other managers. Every team has a couple of coaches, so there might be one manager, but there's people getting experience and that underneath them. Any club would be delighted to have someone. Go and get your local club. Ronald Earl says, I hate that it's considered an agenda to say Brandon's fundamentally a better left back than Shaw. Shaw's better at crossing, but even that's inconsistent these days. I'd fuck Shaw off to Newcastle. There's a reason Brandon took his place. And actually, he took Ashley Young's place, who'd already taken Shaw's place. So ultimately, he had took Shaw's place, but you know. Liam says, I'm not good at reading my mind wonders, so Audible is brilliant. My TL says, what's the spookiest experience you've had other than watching Shaw attempt to be a fullback? I've never had any paranormal experiences. I'm not 100% sure I fucking believe anyone who has, to be honest, but I'm open to the possibility that there's some extra shit that I can't explain. But I've got no experience of it. Simon Andrew says, you mentioned Chucky before. He is a fascinating guy to listen to. Fergie called him to ask if he was okay losing his 9 shirt to Cole. Fergie reckoned it'd get Cole playing. Interesting, I wasn't aware of that. We're trying to get Chucky as a permanent fixture on Paddock because he's actually mates with Jay. He's been living in, I think, Edinburgh throughout COVID, but he's got grandkids in Manchester, and I think he's moving down to Manchester very, 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 very soon. So the plan is that, this sounds fucking mad to me, but the plan is that Brian McClare becomes the third wheel on the brew. That's the plan. Declan says, do you think that the crazy prices of transfers ever increasing and the agent commission cap will see more purposely running down their contracts and leaving for free? I think there probably is a tipping point fucking really close on the horizon. When people are starting talking about a couple of £100 million for players, that's what means you've got to go look at your academy. You've got to go look at your academy. You think, well, I spent £200 million on someone, or if I spend £200 million on my academy, I'm going to get 3 or 4 players out of it. Maybe not all in 1 year, but over a few years, I'm getting some players out. Rixa says, interesting to see how Lindelof was used to cut through the halves. I do like centre. I do like centre halves that drive with the ball forward. It creates an overload in the centre of the pitch and makes someone think about what to do. It's going to kick off Royal in Ukraine. Have I seen the video of the Russian tanks? Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think I'd do very well against a tank, but I could be convinced to go, you know. Oh, I have got something up here, actually, that I can show you, in case anyone's interested. We have got my picture down here that Simone, who's one of the pole salutes, painted. Because I'm going to put military stuff up here when I get rid of the Rashford shirt. But here's what I have found. And that is my my old webbing. So my old belt kit. It's not, we don't even use the DPM pattern anymore, which makes me feel so fucking old. But yeah, this would be my belt kit from Afghanistan. What do I make of Wenger's quote saying 67% of players not being in football by 21 because of a lack of stamina and motivation to be a footballer? I've never seen that quote, to be honest with you. Steve, why did you join? How did I join the military, and what process did you have to go through? You go to the careers office and you do the what's it called? I can't remember the acronym for it, but you basically do as your you do your intelligence test kind of thing. You have to get certain scores to be able to do different stuff. I think then you do a medical, and then you go and do recruit selection. I did it up at Glencore's in Scotland, and then after that you go to basic training. Pretty fucking straightforward process, in all honesty. I am, I don't know, Barb Test, that's the fella. I am looking at doing the Are any of my family in the military? Yeah, I've got a cousin who's officially the shortest person in the army. Officially the shortest person in the army, because she was under the minimum height to be in the military. She's a medic, and she challenged it, which is mental. And they said, fuck it, if you can pass the physicals, then you're in. And she passed them, so she's officially the smallest person in the British Army. How mad's that? So yeah, I got a cousin and her dad, so my uncle. He was in the First Gulf War, and then my great grandparents were in. But yeah, this is my painting that the missus has done for us for Christmas. Obviously, it's trying not to get the light in it. Hard work trying to not see. So this is my section in Afghanistan. Pretty cool, isn't it? Do I think Cantona retired too early, or I think most players should retire at their peak? I think Cantona did it at the right time, in honesty. In hindsight, he'd started to fall off a tiny little bit. But yeah, it was time. So, yeah, so that's going to go on the wall. I have my medals, my dog tags, and some photographs, and a bayonet, and I'm going to be sticking those up on the wall. Obviously, we've got enough football memorabilia everywhere. Have I thought about getting any tattoos in my army experiences? Yes. Time and money are the two things that have stopped me. I haven't got any tattoos currently at the moment. Did I get the chance to meet Jocko Willink? No, I didn't, but Brendan fucking met him when he went over to San Diego, which I was a bit jealous of. Do I think Ronaldo is falling off, or is it just a United thing? I think as the team's adapted to Ralph's style of play, everything's kind of got creaky, timing's come off a little bit and all that sort of stuff, and I think it will get to the point where he's happy days again and he's working. I'm almost certain of it. What United player overstayed his welcome the most? Fucking Phil Jones. Let's be honest with ourselves here. It's Phil Jones, isn't it? Jeremy says, hi, Steve, got a question. How and where did I start my coaching career, and what do I find the most challenging, and what, apart from what you get on the pitch and gain experience, what's the best advice? I started it while I was in the army. I did more of it, as every dad ends up doing, with my son. And that's it, really. And then managed the full-time Devils team, and then started with this. Do I think Pogba will sign a contract extension? Nope. Did I ever poo myself on operations? Well, not literally. I was so fucking scared that my knees went, though, at one point. That's a fucking humbling experience. We were getting rocketed to fuck. And I got a picture at work, which it's called a splat map, and it's a 2D map of every single rocket that hit us. There was 256 rockets hit us in a few months. And our compound got blown up 5th day we were there, and he moved us from there after that to another place, and we nicknamed that place, anyone who's been in the military will understand this, anyone else, it's a bit of a niche sort of thingy. We nicknamed that the bottom centre of the white patch, because that felt like that's where they were aiming. And there was just fucking rockets coming in left, right and centre. The cookhouse got licked up by it. There was a gent killed in the toilets. A couple of weeks left to go. And the CRAM, which is a defense mechanism that's out there, if you go and Google CRAM Basra, you'll see it in action. I think it's 1 in 10 tracer. So the red arcs of tracer rounds that you see, there's 9 bullets that you can't see. It's insane. It's a truck. Looks like a roided up R2-D2 that just fucking spits bullets at the sky. Uses radar and stuff like that to sort of track everything that's going on. And it can shoot 1 in 3 rockets out of the sky, which is insane that it can do that. And one night, one particularly fucking heavy bombardment that you got, and we just got pounded for hours. And I think back to this and I think I can't imagine what the World War One trenches must have been like under that sort of bombardment. Obviously extremely close to the enemy there at the time, not only dealing with bombardment, but also then having to fucking jib up over the top and then go and fight them. But I think like the first day I saw something like 1.8 million rounds fired in artillery. I can't imagine the mental state that puts you in, because IDF is a fucking absolute terrifying experience. And we'd been getting fucking pounded all night long. Must have been 20, 30 rocket attacks within a few hours. And an all clear went off, and I tried to stand up, and my knees didn't work. And I've never experienced anything like that. I've been lying on the floor for fucking hours. Adrenaline just going through the roof. Fucking my arsehole swallowing up my fucking combat trousers. Breathing heavy, because when your adrenaline kicks in and you don't run anywhere, you just lie on the floor with a heart rate of 190, like you've just fucking run 400 meters. It's bananas. It's a surreal experience. And then I tried to stand up, and you know, like when a boxer gets chinned and they just start drunkenly walking about the place because they can't sort of like straighten their knees. I was like, I had to hold on to a bed like, fucking hell, my knees don't work, man. And that's a humbling fucking experience, and you know, and a little bit embarrassing as well. I'm there with my sergeant, you trying to fucking style it off, like, oh yeah, fucking hell, knees don't work. Yeah, I'm alright. Yeah, fucking. I did not like getting rocketed like that. I'll be honest with you. It was not a laugh. Not a fucking laugh at all. Is there anything I learned in the military that I bring to my coaching? Fucking shouting a lot. Oh, yeah, fucking hell. Chan says, Steve really enjoying the Viber 5 content. Who's the next player you're going to interview? TBC. Be honest, do I think our fan base is the most toxic fan base on the planet? No, I think probably I think someone like Barcelona, Real Madrid could be, in all honesty. They're fucking horrific. It's pretty rough on socials, but at least in the stadium it's largely pretty good. Saji says, what was the reason I joined the army? Was it to give pride and serve the country? It was for a fucking job, mate. I left school thinking I was going to play rugby, and I did not. So what's the next best thing to not being a professional athlete? It's not grow up and go and get in the fucking army. Where I can play sport for a long time, and to be fair, I wanted to be a soldier since I was about 6 as well, to be honest. It's nothing to do with serving the country. I don't really have a massive hard-on for the royal family in any shape or form whatsoever. Some of us are just drawn to that sort of role, aren't we? Do you think we have any chance to win the league if we beat Atletico? I think you beat Atletico, you're in the quarterfinals, you get a good draw, you're in the semi-finals. Once you're in the semi-finals, anything can happen. I don't know. Did I play with toy soldiers as a kid? I don't think so. Favourite country I visited with the army? I visited a lot.
I don't know that one.
Shut up, Alexa. I enjoyed Oman, to be honest. Who, in my opinion, is the all-time football goal? Cristiano Ronaldo, all day long. I think Messi's very, very good, and he's probably second, but yeah, that's him. Do I see me staying with 5 for the foreseeable future? Yeah. Is PTSD as common among veterans as it's publicised in the media? I think it's probably more common. I think it's probably more fucking common. I didn't think I ever did anything worthy of getting fucking PTSD. And then you speak to a therapist and they go, yeah, you got it. Is Black Hawk Down the greatest war movie? Negative. It's good. Not about the greatest. I mean, Saving Private Ryan's got to be up there, isn't it? Do I regret going into the service? No. And how does a British Army MRE taste? We don't call ours MRE, but yeah. No, I don't regret. Not only do I not regret, I probably regret leaving more than I regret going in. And like I said, I'm kind of getting this operation to have another run at it, in all honesty. Have I considered the impact you leaving Paddock will have on the club, considering the clout and attention my platform brings? I'm not Fergie. It'll be fine. Brian Kevill says, Steve, do I think Gareth Keenan would survive the army after the territorials? Well, it's a fictional character, but yeah, probably, because there's a lot of fucking whoppers around. Right, yeah. What's the best war film I've watched? It's not a film, it's a series, and it's Band of Brothers, and it's irreproachably the best fucking thing that's out there. After that, something which not a lot of people will have seen, but has got such a fucking rating amongst veterans because it's so accurate of thinking you're getting into the fight and then move to this place and then you're going to get into the fight and then move to this place and then you're going to get into the fight and nothing fucking happens for the entire thing. Spoiler alert. Is Generation Kill. Generation Kill is fucking outstandingly good, and it might be what I watch for an hour when I'm on the cross trainer. Pinch Weasel says Band of Brothers getting, yeah, it's fucking class. Samara says, hey Steve, I'm from Oman. Actually, so happy to hear you say that. Any chance you can give a few words why you enjoyed it? Mainly the weather. Right, Oman was 15 degrees cooler than Afghanistan, right? Afghanistan was 56, Oman was like 41, 42. But Oman's heat was just intense. Like, it was hot in Afghanistan. 56 degrees, it's fucking hot. There's no two ways around it. That's hot. But there was something about how hot it was in Oman. I got the best time of my fucking life in Oman. Honestly. I still, to this day, I'm kind of addicted with this fucking moisturiser, Vaseline Intensive Care. The fucking smell of this will put a smile on my face. It's fucking mint. And I got addicted to this because my skin was getting fucking crisped up like fried chicken in Oman. And I would bathe in that afterwards to sort of be able to move. Just suntanned up and sunburnt up every fucking day. It was top. Sahaj says, do I think McTominay would have been a top-rated player in the 80s? It might have suited him more. Vernon says, would I like to do an army podcast? It's something we've discussed, to be honest. Floating Man says, the Deer Hunter and Platoon ain't bad either. I liked Platoon. I got in so much trouble in basic training. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a gobshite. And we were lined up in basic training one day. And my section commander, who's a Royal Green Jackets guy, comes up and he's got the whole section, the whole platoon lined up. And he's like, has anyone been in the military before? There's a couple of people put their hand up. There was the guy that was like 30. He'd done 4 years and got out and then got back in again. And there was people that had been in the TA and things like that. And I had my hand up. And he's like, aren't you like 19? I went, yeah. And he was like, when was you in the army? I was like, I was in Vietnam. And he just looked at me like, what? And I was like, yeah. Well, I said Vietnam, but it was more like Cambodia, really, than Vietnam. He's like, just start fucking doing press-ups, man. Oh, yeah. Good time. Steve, when do I plan to get back in the army? And do you think that's a realistic possibility, considering what I've got going on with Paddock and all the rest of it? I'm going to fuck some of it off. I will, yeah, I do. I'm going to get the operation done and I'm going to see if I can get close to the fitness standards and then we'll see what happens. If I'm not up to it, I'm not up to it, but the door closes at 40 and I just turned 38 and I'm going to give it a fucking run. Saul Buxton says, sounds like a good old this army thing. It depends on your personality. Some people fucking hate it. I liked it. Manic says, apparently Tom Hanks and producer Band of Brothers working on a new series. It's called Masters of the Air. Wow, that will be good. Have I seen the 4th season of Blackadder? If so, are my thoughts on the same? I couldn't tell you anything about it. Not just, I wonder if Oman was like Egypt in September when I was there. Mega intense there too. Anything around, I mean, I know Oman isn't. It's in the Gulf, but I think that end of the Mediterranean's a bit fucking toasty like that anyway. Yusuf, what did I make of Juventus All or Nothing? I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, actually. So 37 in America. I'm talking Celsius, 40 degrees C. Afghanistan was 56, which is fucking bonkers. Any funny movements or pranks I did or witnessed while serving? Loads. I don't know where to start with some of them. Some of them you definitely just had to fucking be there for. I did prank Tony Blair. I haven't got any water here, have I? I can't show you what I did, but I used to do something. I used to do something with water where I would have a mouthful of water and just speak, so it just falls out of your mouth, and people just look at you. It's stupid, right? I'm not saying this is good. It's definitely stupid, but it was something I did. And I used to also do something like where I was talking, I would lick my chin a little bit like that, and I just keep talking, and I like I'm not licking my chin, and sometimes just like have a very serious conversation about like really serious things, and just lick my chin constantly like that. And Tony Blair came to visit us, I think 2007 out in Afghanistan, and we were in like a horseshoe kind of shape, and I'm standing like right in the very centre of it at the back, and he comes. I don't even know what he asked me. He asked me a load of bollocks, and he just come and say whatever the fuck he's saying to you, and I was doing that with licking, and he kind of like too polite to go like, what the fuck are you doing? And just kind of looked at me a little bit weird and then moved it on. And then my fucking sergeant major just fucking come and got this close to my face like that. Like, didn't say anything, but was saying, what the fuck are you fucking doing? But through the middle of all of this, my mate Si, who's just got back in touch with me actually as well, my mate Si is about 8 people over to my left-hand side, and everyone's standing to attention, but I can just see his fucking shoulders going like this. And I had to chew on my tongue not to fucking laugh in everyone's face. Again, probably had to be there, but it was fun. Vernon says Generation Kill was shot in my home country, Namibia. I think it was also shot in, Cameroon as well, you know. I did have a look and read up at that one. Tony says Pogba in the 2000s would have been absolutely nailed. 90s probably, yeah. Did we get much American air support on ticks? Yeah, usually warthogs. Philip says you did well, so Steve. You did well, so Steve. You do stuff to see things, you mean? Barb test, yeah. Barb test, yeah. Yeah, I do like to go and fucking check stuff out. Life's about experiences, isn't it? You don't want to get in there and be like, yep, didn't really do a lot. Anthony Jarvis says that's a really funny moment to join the stream. Steve saying I would bathe in it whilst holding a massive pot of Vaseline. It's moisturiser, but point taken. Gary says PTSD is bad. My 9-year-old son has behaviour issues a long time, and we've seen someone last week, and they said they think it's PTSD's for being really poorly as a baby. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? Hope you get to sort that out. Tony says Qatar was like that. It's so fucking bright. Yeah, the intense heats are madness. Um, Someone just said I use the same moisturizer. Favorite non-football book? Jocko Willink's first one. Can't remember the name of it. That's a good one. Alex says, I remember the news coverage of the Mogadishu raid in '93 was crazy. Black Hawk Down for me is obviously harrowing, but reading the book gives you a better perspective. Madness. John says, disabled Vietnam corpsman, and Manchester United fan since '58. Welcome, my mate. Is corpsman, is that a Marine thing alone, or do they call corpsman army as well? I'm not well versed on the American stuff too much. What's my thoughts on the stadium and how it needs to be improved? It fucking needs to be improved, doesn't it? It needs a baby wipe for starters. We'll start there, shall we? You've got to match the other side. I think you've got to throw safe standing in the bottom of K stand and the bottom of the Stretford end and just fucking crack on with it, I reckon. What's my thoughts on Boris saying all COVID restrictions are scrapped? I reckon it's 50% linked to him getting done for everything. Why don't the UK invest in an A10 Warthog? No idea. Do I dream of managing in the Champions League? Not really, no, because that's delusion rather than dreaming. If I join the army, am I going back in the reserves or full time? Reserves, for sure. Yep, sounds like a story we had to be there. I told you. Daniel says, I was in university on 9/11. I was probably stirred to action, but also taking a history class on US Vietnam War. Decided no military. To me, I did the wrong thing. Wow. I mean, I remember 9/11 as it happened, and I'm not sure if that did or did not play a part. I mean, I went to join at 16, and then when I went to join at 16, I got a contract playing rugby with Salford. And I said, all right, well, let's park that then. But I would have gone in at 16. And I had no dramas with that. And if I had, I probably would have been in the invasion of Iraq. Needless to say, I was in basic training when the invasion of Iraq happened. But yeah, I paused it because I got a contract offer at Salford. I played rugby and went to college for a couple of years. Salford got relegated and released me. And I just fucking went and joined straight back up again. No, it wasn't. It was something I always wanted to do. And I'm glad I did it. Bokar says, don't I feel lied to about everything? I'm an expat, American Japanese living in Belgium who flew drones. Wow. It's just like, I wish I could erase everything I did. No, in all honesty, I know we were definitely lied to, but I know that we did a good thing, at least in Afghanistan. I think that was justified by what we saw as the Taliban were taking over late last year. I think you could see the fucking chaos. And it was upsetting to watch it just give them back, when we've all buried people that lost their lives over there. But no, I don't feel like I'll take it all back. I think it was a life experience. We did it. I'm glad we did it. Crack on. I wouldn't. I've done some things that I'm certainly not proud of. Made a lot of mistakes, but you can't change one thing. You got to just fucking roll with it. Big Weng says, should have asked Blair about them weapons of mass destruction. I don't reckon that would have gone down well, to be honest. And ultimately, Blair gets a lot of stick, right? And this isn't me sticking up for Blair in any way, shape, or form. He wasn't the guy on the ground looking at in the intelligence reports and going, we got to go to Iraq. They either got shit intelligence from Americans or shit intelligence from British intelligence. He can only deal with the information in front of him. And I imagine the information in front of him was fucking not good. Anthony says, knowing what I do now about mental health side of war and trauma, what would I do differently to prepare for conflict? Jimmy says he's 30, too old to join the army. I'm fucking 38. No, absolutely not. What would I do differently with the mental health side of things? I know as we came back, they tried to do a decompression thing, and it ended up being a couple of days in Cyprus with a free para battle group coming back from Afghanistan. And they wanted a week, and the commanding officer was like, no, we've been away for fucking months. All they want to do is go and see the family. They're doing 2 nights or something like that. Got smashed, have a fight, and get back on the fucking plane in clean combats, and then go see your families. But I don't think that was a good idea. And I don't think briefing the lads in a fucking lecture hall is how you're going to actually get through to them. They're bored. They just want to go on the piss or sunbathe or see their family. But there needs to be a really robust way of filtering through the lads and have them sit down one-to-one and talk with someone. Now, that's going to be well intensive on resources. But if it costs fucking 250 grand to fire a Hellfire missile, and we fired a lot of them, put some of that fucking money aside for counsellors. And not necessarily counsellors who are like, oh, I want you to fucking talk to me about your feelings. Just fucking speak to them for an hour, individually. Every single man in the company. If you have to hire 100 therapists and fly them to Cyprus, and everyone checks in, it's private, it's confidential, they can just have a conversation with someone, and then they can make a note. Listen, I think this guy's probably going to need a follow-up, or this guy's fine. This guy might need a follow-up. This guy's a fucking absolute biscuit. He's going to need all sorts of help. You can start to catch some of it there. I got arrested on my first night back from Afghanistan for smashing someone's teeth in, right? 2 people's teeth in. I probably should have said something to my mates, like, maybe let's not go out and get fucking minging. Maybe let's just go and have a quiet one. I think one of the times I came back, I think it was the time I came back from Iraq, I think we just went and sat in the pig on the wall at the end of my dad's street, got drunk and did the quiz, and that one was fine. But I think like going out into town with loads of people, that's not a good fucking move. And if you look at the sheer number of people who got arrested, like the first weekend that they came back, it was astronomical. It was like, how many of them got a suntan? That was how many. Just fucking loads of people just getting arrested left, right and centre. There has to be something a lot more robust to be able to deal with it as people are returning. There's got to be. Because just fucking kicking them off a plane and going from fucking combat one day to a guy calling you a cunt in boots the next day and expecting that you're just going to be like, yeah, sound, and not fucking smash his teeth in, it's just unrealistic. It's not happening with me. But do you know what I mean? It's not realistic that that's going to fucking go down like that. I think this fucking computer's going to die again. Not great, is it, when it's... Yeah, it's slowing down like fuck this now. I'm going to try and kill a couple of apps and see if it makes any difference to what's going on, because it's just not... It's not charging. I'm going to set that out, see if that does anything as well. My screen's just gone blank. Has it gone off? Hopefully it's not gone off. I can't tell if it's still fucking streaming or not, to be honest with you. It's frozen on my end. I'll keep going. Do we have chargers up in the attic? Yeah, it's on charge. The problem is, streaming through a laptop, I stream through a PC at home, streaming it through a laptop, it just fucking kills it. And also, my laptop had died beforehand. It didn't get a long enough time to charge up before I'd started this. The Mank Mex says, why do I slag Rashford off but never seem to slag Maguire off, who's the worst captain ever? I think you're in the wrong fucking chat, mate. How about that? Yeah, apparently it's lagging like fuck now. I'm just on an old laptop, and it's just not fucking dealing with all this very well, is it? Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. Oh, even the touch bar's not fucking responding. It's just, everything's just lagging in it. It's also about 1,000 degrees, this laptop as well. Dan says, big fan for a couple of years now. What do I think of Putin's announcement of recognition and peacekeeping operations in Donbass? I haven't seen that. My gut instinct the entire time was this was always going to end up as like a UN peacekeeping thing. I really thought that. And I don't know why I thought that, because it's not really happened that much. But that was something I really, really thought was going to happen. I'm going to try and read the comments off my phone, because I have no idea if I'm even streaming at the moment. Is it dead? I think it's dead. Yeah, it's got up to 48 fucking percent. I think it's just lagging. Right, I've got the comments on here. Audio's not lagging. Right, well, that's maybe a bonus, isn't it? Yeah, this thing's overheating like mad. Still audible. All right, I'll just keep talking. Normally, due to overheating, make sure the fans are clear. There's no fucking fans. It's a MacBook. There's no fans on it. Steal some stuff from the office. It's not that easy, is it? I need a good PC for home. Maybe if we're doing these more regularly, and maybe actually once I've had my operation, I'm probably going to be at home for about a month, so I'll probably end up having to do that then. Best rugby player of all time. I think Martin Fire's up there, I think. Will my granddad ever make a comeback on Paddock on my channel? Would love to hear his thoughts on the state of affairs. Yeah, we was chatting to him recently about coming on and having a chat about stuff, and I think he got ill a couple times. We'll get him back on for sure. What was my other option if I didn't join the army? Well, I didn't have a ton of qualifications. I probably could have stayed on at college and finished my A-levels. I didn't finish my A-levels. I fucked off in like November, January, December. And just, I'd started working with my dad doing lift engineering, but that wasn't me either, to be honest. Liam says Blair literally pushed the idea that there were weapons of mass destruction which could be deployed in 45 minutes, which they knew wasn't true. Do we know that that's what he thought? Or, again, was that the intelligence that he was getting? Pavan says, just wanted to drop by and say hi, Steve. Great shows. We'll catch later. How about Late Night with Howson as the name? We could do, couldn't we? How's this streaming now? It's gone to 56% CPU usage. That's not good. What's the problem with my knee and how long do I expect it to recover? It's my calves, and it's something called a chronic exertional compartment syndrome, and the scar that I'm going to have is fucking gnarly. Asta says, can we see the team talk before halftime and after the matches of Paddock? Yeah, I don't know why they've cut them out. I told them to fucking cut them out at half-time. Like, the opposition have our fucking Twitter. Why would you put my team talk on at half-time? I seen my ass with that. Told them to stop doing that. But no, I don't have an issue with it being in the edit. Not at all. Anthony says, thanks for answering the question. I've always wondered. I think it's criminal to both soldiers and society that you're not looked after properly when you come home. The other thing is, on that side of stuff, like, you know, I've been there. You just want to get home. And you're probably not going to take it very fucking serious. Ronaldo's just texted me saying, Russia just invaded Ukraine. Are we all dead or what? Well, we don't live in Ukraine, Ronnie. So it's going to get fucking sticky for people that are in Ukraine. I mean, this has been coming for so fucking long. You don't amass tanks on the border and all this, that, and the other, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. I said to Jay today, there's a lot of fucking war porn on at the moment on Instagram. Some of the accounts that I follow that are seeing stuff that's out here. It's not going to be fucking... It's not going to be pretty, this. And I definitely think British troops are going to be there within 2 weeks. I think you're going to see British troops. I find it funky how many fucking British troops are on exercise in Estonia. I know we've exercised in Estonia in the past, but let's be honest, it's not our top 5 fucking destinations to go and exercise to, is it? It was like when we was doing loads of exercises in 2003 in the Persian Gulf, and you're like, oh, this is just coincidental, isn't it? Like, before we went to Afghanistan, we knew We knew way before they told us we was going to Afghanistan that we were fucking going to Afghanistan. And then the colonel, the commanding officer of the regiment, gets you all in the fucking hall and is like, we've been warned off for Afghanistan. We're going to be going on, whatever fucking May 2006 or something, April 2006. And you're like, yeah or no? Like, of course we fucking are. Like, it's not the worst kept secret in the fucking world. Janine's saying it's all F-bombs and unusable. That's why I think she's talking about my team talks. There's a lot of F-bombs. Hensel says, I'm ever in Zurich, beers on me. I've not been to Zurich. That's Switzerland, isn't it? I've been through Switzerland. I never stayed in Switzerland. Alex, is it basically your calves are permanently tight? No, not really. So what happens is all of your muscles are in permeable sacs, like sheaths, if you like. Mine aren't in my calves, or one of them might not be. I'm not sure until they open it up when they do an MRI on it. So what happens is, as you run, the sacs fill up with blood, and much like your dick does when you're in a state of arousal, they become hard, like rock hard. And that's bad for muscles, because muscles need pliability, they need flex, they need to be able to move. And especially your calves, because you need to be able to flex your ankle. I think one of the reasons I've developed arthritis in my ankle is because of the inability to flex once the compartment syndrome kicks in. Now, I've always had this, but it's become exacerbated since I put a load of timber on, because obviously the extra tension that's going on the calves as you're running every single step exacerbates it. I always had tight calves when we do a run, though. We might do 6 mile, 8 mile, 10 mile, and I'd be like, fucking hell, my calves are sore afterwards. And I just thought that was because you ran. I was fit. I was a fit soldier. I wasn't just in the army. I was a fit soldier. And I was working in the gym for a period of time. And I was just like, all the time, my fucking calves, man. Got looked at for shin splints. No, it's not shin splints. I had a recurring sort of tear in my soleus. I was getting trigger pointing done from physio for that for ages. Couldn't fucking heal it. Couldn't find out what it was, and I was going for Pathfinder selection, putting in some serious fucking mileage, and in absolute agony with my calves, just what's going on with these. And that was where I really sort of started to figure out that it was compartment syndrome. Everything then happened. Obviously, we had Iraq and all the rest of it, and then I left, and I played a little bit of rugby when I left still. And I'd put a little bit of weight on after I'd had my MMA fight and started playing rugby again. And I had no time. I was just, this hurts and I can't fucking run. I've got like 10 minutes in me maybe. And it's never gone away. And it's got progressively worse. And I've just decided I'm fucking doing something about it now. But yeah, the sacs that your muscles live in, they're in compartments. Mine's not permeable enough, so the blood goes in there and stays in there. 30 minutes post-exercise, they're pliable again and they're fine. It's only during exercise that they kick in and they completely lock up. They're going to score the fascia and hopefully flow blood in and out of them. And there's a lot of people in the comments actually that have had it and boxed it off, and hopefully it works and I can get running again. Fuck that. So the operation they will do, what will they do? They basically cut me open from knee to ankle, both inside and outside on both calves. And they fucking fillet my fascia that my calf muscles are in. And it's minging. And I'll be in a wheelchair for 6 or 8 weeks following it. Or not. I'm just not going to leave the house for 6 or 8 weeks. But after that, I can just crack on straight away. Chris says, good luck with the operation. I have cerebral palsy. I had 14 operations on my legs and the rehab is brutal. Jesus, mate, that sounds fucking rough. Tony says, I walked 11 miles today. First 3 miles, my legs felt like they were walking on cinder blocks and suddenly got loose. Doesn't loosen up. What weight was I in the army? It's probably about probably went in at about 165, 170-ish. Probably somewhere around that, 165-ish maybe. Is it like getting a dead leg? No, it's painful. It's like, imagine if there was too much blood in your legs and it felt like they were going to rip. And there's a pain because you can't move them as well. It's fucking awful. Steve Conlon says, you sound like a thug talking about smashing people's teeth in. You should join the EDL. Well, it was white people are punched. How'd you work that out? Also, have you ever been on operations? Have you ever experienced what that is in the coming home and the differences between it? I'm not fucking glamorizing it. I'm just talking to you about what happened and my experience about what happened and what was the experience of a fucking lot of, like, probably 60-70% of soldiers their first night back got in some sort of fucking trouble. Like, it's not about being a fucking thug. You can't ask people to go and do what they do on operations and then just fucking stand in line like some mug as someone gives them fucking abuse. It's just not going to fucking happen, mate. 2 says, first Ukraine, I wonder who next. I think it's just going to be Ukraine. Jeremy says, how often do reserves get called up and do I anticipate much action in the reserves? The reserves are called up constantly, but you're asked if you want to go rather than told that you're going. Mike says, Steve, way back in the vid, but your vids have been proper good quality. Keep up the good work. Cheers, my mate. Ali says, have they actually attacked yet? Someone said, I've just checked Twitter and World War III is trending. Alex says, at least they have a solution so when you can get running again, it'll help for sure. Yeah, I used to run regularly. I probably used to run 3 or 4 mornings a week, probably not 5. Didn't usually do it on a Friday. There was a mate of mine called Charlie that I served with, and about 6:30 every morning, he'd come and knock on my door, and we would go and do probably a couple of miles every morning. And then invariably, pretty much every day involved doing PT of some sort. When I was in the army, pretty much every day involved some sort of PT. And then on top of that, if I was playing rugby as well, I'd train most nights at rugby as well, or you'd go to the gym and do weights. So I never really liked running, but I could run, just can't at the moment. And do you know what? I pulled my calf a couple of weeks ago, and I think I pulled my calf trying to see how bad the compartment syndrome was. So I found a route from my house, which is 500 meters away, or a spot that's bang on, like measured out 500 meters away. So I've been running to it and then running back from it, and that's 1 kilometer. And I was thinking, I'll try and do 5K. And I've been, really coincidentally, going out and doing a kilometer. About 600-700 meters in, compartment syndrome kicks in, and it's a bit of a grit your teeth and fucking force your way through it for the last 300-400 meters. And by the time I get back to my house, I'm in a bit of pain with the compartment syndrome. Well, last week I said, do you know what? Fuck this noise. I'm going to do 2K no matter how much it hurts. And I pushed myself through to do 2K, and I did 2K, but I must have been full Phil Jones face for the last K. Just absolutely trying to grip myself through it. I could push through some stuff, and I pushed through it, and I'd ripped my calf doing it. And then I had a really embarrassing incident in a pub the other week last week where my calf was healing and I fucked it up again. And I've got a consultation on the 1st of March, and I'm thinking I'm just not going to do anything until then because I want to be able to push as hard as I can. Almost do another 2K again, where I can't do 2K, but force myself to do 2K so the doctor can see how bad this gets. and then hopefully get the operation sorted. That's the plan. Are we going to do another rundown on YouTube? No, it's a Patreon thing now. It's all on Patreon, so if you want to get in the mixer, have a look. Russian troops are currently crossing the border. Here's what I know is going to happen. I'm not going to fucking sleep tonight because I'm going to be watching all this shit like it's deadline day. Opinion on military police? Never met anyone who was. If you need wheelie lessons, I can give you the tipping point. I'm not going to use it, mate. I'm just not going to fucking use it. I'm just not going to fucking use it. What's my thoughts on sports science? The fact that a player can train an hour or less and be told he's done enough. Is that taken away from the work rate of the players on the pitch? Yes. Absolutely fucking yes. I spoke to an ex-United coach 2 weeks ago or so, 3 weeks ago. And I asked him this because the sports scientist that we've got at Paddock, with where we're trying to get to him with Paddock, and there's an apprenticeship thing that we may or may not be involved with, where the lads might be coming in full time. And I said to him, like, in your opinion, are players doing enough? You know, is there an extra work capacity? I know what my work capacity was when I was in the military, but obviously being in the military, sometimes there's a bit of a slog and an endurance involved in that, whereas you're asking footballers to be able to perform at elite levels. My experience of some of my mates that are high-level MMA practitioners, they're fucking killing themselves 6-7 hours a day, probably for, in a year, a weekly wage of a footballer. And I know there's extra strains on the footballers. There's the celebrity that MMA fighters haven't got, which is a massive nose. There's the extra travel, constant travel, hotels probably 2 times a week at least, maybe 3. Your international duty stuff as well, you're away for a little bit longer, and that's going to grate on you. But it's a pretty short career in the grand scheme of things. I think there's more to do, and I think Ronaldo is the proof that there's more to do and more to get into. Alex says the rundown is fucking epic, well worth it, but Steve, when you're recovering from your op, I should do the book down. Matthew says, Steve, look at the news about Ukraine. I'm going to be up all night, don't worry about me. I'll be watching it all night. I was going to say, should we do a fucking watch along for it? But that's probably in bad taste, isn't it? Or is it? I was going to say I'll get my helmet on. My fucking Prinny's got it. Prinny, bring us my helmet back. Where do I watch it? I'd be interested to see what happens. We talk about the rundown here. I'm not sure. I think we've lost everything that's going on here. Ollie says, do you ever get that thing with PTSD where you push yourself as far as your body can take you, just mad excessive amounts of exercise when it flares up to take your mind elsewhere? I'll let Janine answer that one. Because there was something I was doing that I wasn't aware I was doing. And it clearly was some sort of proving myself to myself. And a couple of times I fucked up. And I recently, in this physical state I'm in now, especially, I've pushed myself beyond my physical capabilities more than once. Last year, nearly got fucking hypothermia. Just decided I needed to go and do fucking 10 mile with weight, and just push myself to the point where my feet didn't work. And Janine mentioned, I mean, I've been having therapy this year, so I'd had an outlet to talk about it. And Janine mentioned something like this happens every November. Now, for those who don't get the connection, November, here's what happens in November. From Halloween onwards, and probably the week before, motherfuckers are blasting fireworks out like they got them for free. And then you got bonfire night. So from Halloween right away through bonfire night, and then usually for a few days afterwards, especially if bonfire nights fell on like a Tuesday or some shit, it'll go right to the following weekend. People just letting fireworks off. And I don't deal well with fireworks. I fucking dived under my car once at my mum's. Just walking down the street, bomb's gone off, fireworks gone off, big boom. I've just fucking hit the deck in the mud. That was a laugh. And I don't like fireworks. I don't like bonfire night. That's one thing that my kids aren't getting to experience. I will not take them to firework display. Janine can take them. Grandparents can take them. I'm going to be at home with the telly turned up. We've also been looking at doing some military documentaries this year as well, which we've started to put on ice while we sort the green and gold stuff out. So there's been a lot of reminiscing, a lot of thinking, a lot of watching stuff. And I was in my own head a little bit. So it's not necessarily a bad way, in a quite therapeutic kind of way, in a bit of a way. But what Janine had noticed is, come November, obviously you've got Remembrance Sunday and Armistice Day, which is, we all look back and think about some of our friends that we've lost. Every single November, and I use the app Strava as well, and I've got 10 years of me doing this, out of nowhere, just doing a fucking mad physical military style challenge every fucking November. And I wasn't consciously aware I was doing it until Janine said something like, it's every fucking November you do this. And then I looked on my Strava app and I was like, oh shit, this is every November. And I think even just acknowledging that, yeah, do you know what, my fucking head goes off on one. And I will push myself to hospital, to the point of hospitalisation if I have to. So I know I can push myself if I need to push myself, usually beyond what I'm capable of doing. But it happens like regularly in November. Jeremy says, not the rundown. I was asking where you watch what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. It'll be all over the place. Ronan says, behind in the video, but I know Kobe was a workaholic, putting in 8-hour days of work and then playing pickup games. And you see football players, doing fuck all. And Janine says, also on the back of Remembrance. Grassroots Football says, been contemplating therapy for years, still unsure though. It's not like what you see in American films. Like the lady that I had for most of this year was fucking, or most of last year was great. And there was no therapy about it. You just talk, and it's literally just like this. And she'd be like, so what have you been up to? And then you talk, and then she would like quite cleverly steer the conversation in a few places and ask you a couple of questions, but she's got you warmed up talking utter nonsense. Like, where did you go and eat last night? Or blah, blah, blah. And that for me was really good. And then they start to tell you some stuff after a few weeks, and you go, fucking, I didn't realise that. Fucking, I didn't realise that. Or she might ask you, hey, try this when you do this. I found it really beneficial. And you go, oh, do you know what? I'm not mental. It's one of those. Do I have any memories of Keighley? What, as a place? Oh, yeah, I fucking hated it. Not as much as I hated Doncaster, because Doncaster made me quit and not want to play again. No, I only did a season at Keighley, so I only probably spent like 4 or 5 months there, and I didn't spend any overnights there. Akbar says, imagine watching a World War live in YouTube. It's gonna fucking happen, mate. Do I do enough stretching prior to working out? Yes. It's nothing to do with stretching. It's just a blood related thing. It's just, yeah, it'll be fine once it's done. When's the doc coming out? We've not even started filming it yet. We'd literally just started planning the episodes, so it'll be a long time. Do I think Putin will stop at Ukraine? Yes. I think he also wants to just create a buffer between himself and NATO. And I kind of understand it, to be honest. If you look at like Mexico, you think if Russia had have put like an early warning defense system in Mexico, America would be happy about it. The whole Cuban Missile Crisis was because they wanted to put missiles, I think, in Cuba, which was too close to Florida. Like, there's no difference really from NATO putting missiles that close to Russia. Now, I don't think they should get to invade Ukraine over it. And I know he's had a bit of a fucking thing for Ukraine for a long time, but, you know, I don't know. Kobe was making 30 million a year. Yeah, so does that. What? So some of the players that are making 10, 20 million a year, could they not put in 6 hours work? MMA fighters are making fucking 100 grand a year. The lucky ones. And they're putting in 6, 7 hours a day, if not more. Thoughts on James McLean and Matic refusing to wear the poppy? I couldn't care less. I don't like how it's become like a mandatory thing. I think what's beautiful about the poppy is that there's so many people that willingly want to wear it. And I don't like the chastising of people who choose not to wear it. I think it's a beautiful thing if like most of a nation wants to wear it and recognise the sacrifices of those who didn't come home. And I think it's become this mad political thing that people have to wear it so they don't get shit, not that they want to wear it. Like anyone who's on the BBC who forgets to put a poppy on, like fuck man, I forget to put a poppy on, and sometimes I can't fucking sleep to remember. I'm not forgetting. There's no forgetting going here, but sometimes I forget to put a different coat on, and I forgot. Like, you shouldn't be fucking hung out to dry, and like, people have been asked for them to be losing their jobs and stuff. It's like, no, just if it means something to you, wear it. Don't make it this thing where you have to fucking do it to keep your job. And that's what it feels like on a lot of the BBC stuff. And I would rather it be that people choose to wear it and there's no chastising of anyone who doesn't choose to wear it. Because ultimately, a lot of those people died fighting for freedoms. And that means the freedom of choice. And that means the freedom of expression. And that's what it should all be about. You know, people can wear all the different coloured ones if they want to wear them. Fucking, you should just do what you need to do and shouldn't have to fucking justify it to anybody. And if that was the case, and then 60 million out of 70 million people in Britain wanted to wear it, isn't that the most beautiful thing ever? Danny says, just when we were getting used to living with COVID, in comes a potential war. Got to keep that missile money rolling in, mate. We had fucking 20 years of the going was getting good, wasn't it, for all Lockheed Martin and all that in Afghanistan and Iraq. They got shareholders too. How's my tinnitus these days? It's fucking brutal. Like, there's a reason if you clock me walking around, anyone that clocks me walking around the office, you will not see me walking around the office without fucking headphones in. You just won't. Because I can't fucking deal with the noise, to be honest. I also can't sleep without a podcast on or something because the noise is insane. Ollie Aston says, same here, every October, same date as my first bleed on the brain, I always lose it, broke my ankle last year, hearing stuff always makes me feel a little bit more normal. That was another thing that I found in therapy, because I was saying some stuff and I was thinking, I'm a bit of a fucking weirdo for this, right? And then she'd be like, no. They obviously speak to a ton of different, it was a veteran service that I went through, and they were like, no, listen, you're all the fucking same. Like, none of you want to go to the doctor, none of you want to fucking talk about it, you all think you're fucking invincible, and you've all got some sort of like shame and embarrassment about trying to talk to anyone about it, and you're like, okay. Yeah, mad. Surely New Year's has the same effect on fireworks. It's not as bad, New Year's. It's not as bad as Bonfire Night. Have I got many Man United shirts with numbers on the back? Not really. Um, have I considered doing a special edition veterans paddock jersey? No, I don't necessarily want to cross the lines with everything that I do with football and that. Just let the football be the football. Dave's really keen on us having a poppy on the shirt for a commemorative match, but I'm not. That's my thing. I don't necessarily want to force it on the football team. If the football team, again, if everyone wants to do it, then let's do it, and that's mega. But yeah, I'd rather it just be my thing, to be honest. Does it bother you that the managers play favourites and never drop them no matter how bad they've been playing? Seems unfair on the other players. Yes, but let's be honest, it fucking happens. Did anyone in my family watch the Babes? Yes, my granddad did. Ukraine have just requested an emergency UN Security Council meeting. See, this is where it's fucking going, man. This is where it is going. I can just see it being a UN peacekeeping mission. And if they bring out a new medal for it, I might have to go get one, you know what I'm saying? I might only be half joking, Janine. How do I plan my games with Paddock when the opposition have access to see how your team plays? There's a few things that go against us. One is we're the easiest team to scout in our league. Nobody else films games. So it's very easy for you to get to know our players. We play the same way pretty much every single week. There's very, very minor tweaks to what we do. We generally don't have any option to view our opposition. So we don't have the ability to scout our opposition because there's just, unless we've played them before, we have no idea what they're going to play like. Teams typically turn up when the cameras are on. I mean, for example, De La Salle put 14 past Oldham, Moston put 18 past Oldham, and we struggle to score 3. And I think it's the cameras. Teams absolutely turn up. We don't play teams on their worst day. I spoke to Spencer about this, and he was like, yeah, that was something that they were finding as well, is that teams just fucking turn up to play them. Get mad excited about it, and inexplicably just fucking think about you all the time. Absolutely rent-free with some of them. What's the worst player name I've seen on a United jersey? I don't know, to be honest. Janine says she's going to draw up the divorce paperwork if I think I'm going on another tour. Even a peacekeeping one. Come on, I only got sunny ones. What about a cold one? Got to collect them all. It's like Pokemon. C. Jones says, me and my missus are having bottles of rum at the centerpieces of our wedding, 8 tables. What are the top 8 bottles I should get? Oh, mate, I can't answer that on here, like. You got to get Diplomatico and Salford in the mixer, the Bacardi Ocho, a Ronza Kappa, and then the 4 ones that you find the best. Who's the best between Fred and Pereira? Fred, because at least he's got defensive abilities. Saying that, I remember, I want to say, was it Des Kelly was the Secretary of Defence? Before we went to Afghanistan, I remember the exercises we were doing in the build-up to Afghanistan, and they were like, this is going to be a fucking war, lads, like a war, like the Falklands. And the Secretary of Defence was saying, like, this is a peacekeeping war. If we have to fire 1 round, then we've failed in our objective of keeping the peace. And I used that quote. We did a video of our tour at the end of it, and I used a lot of footage of like fucking 1,000-pound jade dams just exploding all over Sangin with that quote over them. Like, if we have to fire 1 round and it's game over. I think we fired somewhere in the region of millions of rounds. So yeah, we could just do another peacekeeping tour like Afghanistan was for 20 years. Yeah, it was not BT Sports Des Kelly. I think the Secretary of State was also called Des Kelly. Alex says, if it's a peacekeeping mission with John Cena peacekeeper, then shit's going to be dealt with quick. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about wrestlers. Jeremy says, how does Janine feel about you wanting to join the reserves? Obviously, another tour is another level, but what's her thoughts? I don't think it's her favourite thing in the world. But I also think she knows that I need things to challenge me. Jake says, had Diplomatic over Christmas and was a beaut. Fell in love with Discarded, though. Amazing, neat, banana peel rum. Haven't we got a Discarded? I think we got a Discarded in the office. Do we have to ask permission from other teams to film the matches? No, we do not. Unless they're taking place indoors. No, you don't. Peacekeeping via shots fired. What's going on with the Pereira transfer? I think they've done it, with 10 mil. A mostly peaceful peacekeeper. Can I volunteer at SPFC? Yes, get in touch via the website. Would I recommend the reserves, and what does it involve? Well, you're going to have to pass your basic training. Although I think I was in touch with them, they said I might be able to dip it. I don't think so, though. I've been out of it so long. I'd probably need the refresher, in all honesty. You're going to have to do a limited basic training. I think it's like condensed into 2 weeks. For what I'm trying to join, it's a little bit more than that. There's a few weekends involved. I think, is the bird going to get trimmed? The beard's got to go. Unless I can come up with some absolute fucking blag that I need to keep it. Like, I don't know if I don't fucking know what. I mean, I've seen a couple of people with beards, but I think I'll just shave it rather than fuck about. Just shave it. The phenomenal stat pad says Steve had this idea of an inverted back five, play Rafa and Maguire as centre backs, and let Lindelof drop deep between them as a CDM and allow him to carry the ball out. I'm not sure. Yeah, telling me convert to seekers. There's a few people said religious exemption, but I'm not religious, and I don't really give a fuck about anyone's religion. But I'm not going to take the piss out of it by claiming to be someone that follows religion just to get a beard. I'll just shave it off. Joe says, Stay was in Manchester for the first time for the Wolves game. Went to Albert Schloss after I heard you talk about it. Albert Schloss is good. Albert Schloss is a good spot to go check out. Nick says, can you say you're a pagan and keep your beard? Chap at my unit did that. It just feels like a piss take, doesn't it? I know I come across as quite fucking obtuse, especially on Twitter or on here, and argumentative. But in reality, the military is not the place to be like, well, excuse me, I have a shut the fuck up. How about that, mate? You just go, yeah, do you know what? Beard, yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. I'll shave it. Like, I had full fucking boy band haircut when I joined the army. David Beckham in 2003, right? The blonde fucking frosted tips, right? I had that. And before I went to the army, I did not have that. But the week before I went to the army, I had that. And the day before I went, I had a full fucking coconut shave. I am not going to the army with boy band haircut and standing out. Not at all. Same bloke who said he fought in Vietnam on his first day. Wasn't my first day, it was about 2 weeks in. And I didn't know not to be a gobshite then. Janine here in the comments, I'll read out what she's saying. Jeremy asked whether Janine would be happy if I got back in. And Janine says, I'd be happy for him if he got in. I think a lot of it's to prove that he can pass it and rejoin and get fit again. But I think he'll get bored of it, though. Notch says, please release a photo of you with Beck's hair. I don't know if I've got any. We were in the weird time in between regular cameras and digital cameras. I must have one. I don't know where one would be. Summer of 2002. Don't remember. Didn't go away. Didn't really take a lot of photos or anything. I'll try and dig some out. Anthony says, check out Steve's Insta from a few days ago. Pic of him as a boy band member. I think I was in the army then. I was already in the army then. Slim 40 says, you still haven't learned. Alex says, the guy you're thinking of was Donald Rumsfeld. He was Secretary of Defense from 2001 to 2006. He was America's Secretary of Defense. Des Kelly was Britain's. Let me just have a look, actually. Google it. Was it? Hang on, let's have a look. John Reed. That's who it was. No. Was it John Reed? Yeah, I think it was John Reed, actually. I don't know where the fuck I got Des Kelly from. Maybe it was. I'll fucking know. I've slept since then. I'll have to cut my hair again now. I missed the barbers, but my hair's probably... my usual hair's probably fine for the military. The beard, not so much, no. I asked my nan for a nanny shirt when I was 10, and it said nanny. Nanny. Oh, fuck. That's a bad one. What do I think of the movie This Is England? I haven't seen it, you know. Secretary of Defense was Richard Keys. My mate Stu's just sent me a picture. That was a bad haircut. I'm not showing it on here. Oh, fucking hell. Have the little one seen me with no beard? Yeah, Jay has. Yeah, Blake's not. Why have United never signed any good Italians? We spoke about this, you know. We spoke about this a while ago on, I think it was on the Brew with Jay. I think it was anyway. Or it might have been Ronaldo on XG Files. And I think, much like, do you go, why has there not been loads of good English players go abroad lately? Well, in England, you had United, Chelsea, and to a certain extent, Liverpool would all sort of hoard the good English players. That would be where all the main England players played, at those clubs. If you're a German player, you go play for Bayern Munich. If you're an Italian player, you had a couple of choices: Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan, Roma. If you're French, now French players moved, and because France never really had like good European Cup winning teams that won it regular and competed regular, they always seem to be selling clubs. So you would find French players moved around a lot. And Spanish players, up until very recently, the core of the Spanish team's always been Spain-based. There's only a few really that have like played in the Premier League that went on really won the World Cup. And I think it's down to that, to be honest. There's an outlet for you as a top German player in Germany. And obviously Italians are the same. There's an outlet for you to not have to leave Italy to play the top level of football. And I think that's the fundamental reason for it, to be honest. I think that's the main reason why that's not happened. Movement's happening more now because of the riches of the Premier League. But up until a few years ago, it was extremely rare. Raf says, why do Chelsea always get the Italians? Because they got Italians in the 90s. And they set like a bit of a relationship up, I guess. And people in Italy probably knew other Italians that had gone there. It was on a pizza club. All right, there you go. So there you go. Another Patreon thing. Another reason to go and check out Patreon. Has my laptop cooled off? Yes, it's still at 40% CPU. I'm going to wrap it up in a sec anyway. Super chat here from Seth says, Jesus is Ronaldo, Church is Old Trafford, God is Cantona, and Moses is Fergie to lead us out of this shit. We are religious. Janine sent me a couple of photos here. These are while I was in the military, though. Honestly, I look about fucking 10 stone lighter in those. That bottom pic's not good, though. Looks like I've got fucking lipstick on, but that was the black vodka, wasn't it? It used to dye your tongue and your lips. Rough, that. Jason says, going to find out if I'm going to be having a boy or a long-haired boy this week. Excited to add another rank to the Red Army. Mate, whatever it is, all you want is healthy. Don't give a fuck, does it? If it's a girl, it's happy days. If it's a boy, it's happy days. Healthy is all that matters. I've had a chicken Big Mac. No, I'm not really a fan of the sauce. Apparently, he's attacked Ukraine. This is Anthony's joining. He attacked the idea of NATO joining the NATO. He attacked the idea of Ukraine joining the NATO defensive alliance, saying it will serve as a direct threat to the security of Russia. Joe says, "Stay as an American, I don't understand the anti-North bias in England. The South seems to be much worse. I get the South is wealthy, but they also seem to be much trashy, and her accents are awful to all the North lads I've met are nice." There is a massive London bias in England, without a shadow of a doubt. And actually, there's a lot going on in London, but there's a lot going on outside of London as well. Ended the speech by saying Russia would recognise the rebel-held territories, warning that Ukraine must stop firing at rebel positions or face the consequences. Oh, shit, son. Dan Drake says, do I think a tour with the reserves would help my mental health, or would it be like an itch that needs itching, or I think the outcome would be the reserves have different roles? I mean, the reserves can have different roles, but if you deploy, you're deploying as a backfill in a full-time unit. And I know there were fucking medics out in Afghanistan that were like surgeons at home and was like, yeah, I just fucking fancy doing this, and they were like massively overqualified. I was a team medic. I'd had 2 weeks training. That's what you would have amongst random sections. People who are like actual fucking surgeons would have been amazing in a firefight. They're gonna really be able to deal with some of the problems. But yeah, you would backfill a full-time unit, and that would be you. So you'd still do the real job the regular guys do. Do I think it would make me better or worse? I think I understand more about it now than I did. And I also think I understand more about hormones and how they work and how they affect your mood. And I think the hormones has been the biggest thing. Ryan says, without London, how many people would come to see England? They aren't coming to see Stoke-on-Trent. See, that's London's attitude for you. They're not coming to see fucking Croydon either, mate, are they? Let's be honest with ourselves. There's a couple of fucking spots in London that are worth looking at. The rest of it, it's probably worse than Stoke because it's so expensive. At least Stoke's fucking reasonably priced. And that's all my comments gone, unless I can get them back on here. What's the correlation between the non-capital cities being dominant in European football for the most part? Anyway, on that, I think... Is this in Soccernomics? This might be in Soccernomics. Democratic is it there are no democratic capital cities until recently. London obviously got its first with Chelsea in 2012. There are no democratic capital cities that have become powerhouses of European football. And obviously that has recently changed. But if you go around the whole, and you're all going to go, hang on, what about Madrid? Madrid was not democratic. Madrid built up its power being part of a totalitarian state under the Franco regime. So it doesn't count. I'm not sure if Lisbon is the same sort of deal, being the capital city of Portugal, but Edinburgh doesn't really fuck with Glasgow. London, realistically, couldn't fuck with Manchester and Liverpool, and even Nottingham and Birmingham had European Cups as well. With in Germany, it was, I mean, the two powerhouses are Dortmund and Munich, not Berlin. And Hamburg's also won a European Cup, I believe. Obviously, in Italy, it's not Rome, it's Turin and it's Milan. In Amsterdam is not the capital, I believe, in the Netherlands. I believe the Netherlands capital is The Hague, Den Haag, I think. Where else? Paris. It's not got a European Cup and was nothing. Marseille won the first European Cup, I believe, in France. So the reason that Soccernomics gives this is typically large industrial cities such as Barcelona, Porto, Milan, Turin, Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, they've all had to have a hardcore working class, almost rebellious kind of streak in them. And its outlet has found their hard areas, their hard working areas. Rotterdam as well, obviously, it's a shipping place. But they've come from hard working areas. And there's, in a capital city, I think they mentioned this, in a capital city, there's a lot of distractions. There's theatre, there's ballet, there's fucking politics, there's blah, 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 blah. But in working class cities, and football is a working class sport, make no fucking mistake about it. Okay, there might be something that Amsterdam being the fucking capital and Ten Hag being the administrative capital or something like that. I think that's one of the things that they might mention in Soccernomics. I can't remember off the top of my head. But one of the things that they give is there's a million different things to do in all of these cities, but in working class cities, sport was the outlet. Football, mainly, was the outlet. And that's one of the main drivers in it. But it's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, and something I never thought of. And I can't remember the reason why they give democratic, the non-democratic cities, like your fascist ones or your totalitarian regime ones. And I think it was because they basically were almost treated a bit like a plaything at the time. It's an interesting angle. Soccernomics, honestly, is a fascinating book. If you've not read it, you just need to go read it. 17% of Premier League players come from a 7-mile radius of London. Yeah, but what's the population of a 7-mile radius of London versus the rest of the city? Because that all you're telling me there is 83% of players don't. Michael said, did all the non-capital cities that you mentioned there have ports, dockers that are better footballers? Confirmed. No, not all of them have ports. I think all of the ones in England have some sort of stuff like that. And I think even Birmingham obviously had a big canal kind of gaffed in it. Nottingham doesn't, although it does canals. Turin and Milan, I do not think. Milan might be near Lake Como, but I'm not. Turin and Milan, I don't think they're landlocked. I'm pretty sure of it. Marseille's by the port. Yep. Josh says, I'm going to give the book up and give it a good go. It's extremely interesting. It's fascinating. London is not totalitarian. The truth is, mate, Britain's democratic. It is. It just is. But also, London didn't win fuck all. It just didn't. For the size of it, it can't fuck with the North or even the Midlands. Alex says Turin is a mountain region at the foot of the Alps, but very working class. Right, I'm going to rock it there and there, I think. But again, cheers for tuning in, everybody. I think tomorrow preview, and there's 5 things Alanga coming out, so look forward to both of those two. And I guess enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe if you're new, and go check out Patreon if you want to get some of the extra content like the Rundown or the Pizza Club, or there'll probably be a Q&A later on this week just for the Patreons. So cheers for that, and I'll catch you in a bit. Laters.